Well, voters in parts of Texas are casting their ballot in today's primary runoff election, so we won't see any statewide races in this runoff, but there are some high-stake races. To break it all down for us, our Capitol correspondent, Ryan Chandler, he is here. Let's start, Ryan, with the implications really tied to the race for Speaker of the House.
This is the main card tonight, and it's very rare that we see a Texas House Speaker in such a competitive runoff. In fact, Phelan is one of the only House Speakers in Texas history to be faced with a runoff challenge like this. He's facing David Covey, who before this election season was an unknown figure in statewide politics, but he has a really good chance of beating Phelan. In fact, in the March primary, he got more votes than Phelan. So it's a very real chance that we could see a monumental shakeup in the House tonight. Covey is endorsed by former President Trump, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and Attorney General Ken Paxton. Paxton's impeachment is one of the major elements that has influenced the rightward flank of Phelan's party to rally against him. So Phelan has been relying on the more establishment, traditional kind of conservatives like former Governor Rick Perry to rally behind him and make the case that he should not only keep his seat, but keep the speakership. This is a major race that we're watching tonight.
Okay, something else we're watching, the Abbott-backed challengers as well.
Right. So another criticism of Phelan's tenure as Speaker from more conservative members of his party is that he was unable to pass Governor Abbott's school choice initiative, that plan to subsidize private school tuition with taxpayer dollars. In response to the House's failure to pass that, Abbott put a lot of money and a lot of time into campaigning against Republicans who opposed that school choice plan. He knocked out a bunch of them successfully in March, but there's still 4 more that he challenged and forced into a runoff, 4 more opponents of that plan, I should say. So we're going to be watching to see how many of those Abbott can pick off and replace with a candidate who is sympathetic to his plan. He's very close to gaining the majority he needs. There were 21 Republicans last session that opposed his plan for private school subsidies. So he's been trying to cut away at the margin, and depending on how these runoffs go, he could secure the majority in order to pass that #1 priority of his next year.
Okay, and I think that's why people are watching it so closely. And then lastly, what else is on the ballot that people really need to be aware of?
Here in Austin, there are some Democratic primaries, not many that have garnered this kind of statewide attention. Another race that I'm watching closely is Tony Gonzalez. He represents parts of San Antonio, Uvalde, and much of the southern border. Some similar themes playing in that race with Phelan's race. He is considered more of a moderate Republican who is running against Brandon Herrera, who is a YouTube personality known as the AK guy. He's a gun enthusiast who makes YouTube content about firearms. And he's gained a lot of support from President Trump and that kind of the party. Gonzalez is trying to make the case that in this relatively moderate district, he has represented it well. But if he loses, that is going to be a blow to U.S. Speaker Mike Johnson and his Republican majority in the House. All very interesting infighting within the Republican Party that we'll see come to a culmination tonight.
Okay, and Ryan Chandler is with us all night tracking every race. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John.